Sankalpam Varjayed Tasmad Sarvanarthasya Varjayed Tasmad Sarvanarthasya Karanam Jivataha Yasya Kaivalyam Videhe Saha Cha Kevalaha Yad Kinchid Pashyataha Yad Kinchid Pashyataha Bhedam Bhayam Brute Yajushrutihi. Shankara is speaking about Bheda Darshana. What? Whenever you see many, two or differences, that is the nasha for you. Every object that you see is reflected by the mind, in the mind, of the mind. So whether you see white color, red color or any other color, all are visual perceptions made by the eye. So the eye is the common factor there. Are the differential colors, are they really different, or are they a uniform perception by the eyes? Huh? Nahi samjha. See, whether I see men, whether I see women, old people, young people, children, dead bodies, living bodies, all are differences. But these differences are equally uniform perceptions by my eyes. So, is it not true that they are singular? So far as visual perception is concerned, they are singular, uniform perceptions. Maybe in the perceptions variety is there, but even the varietal perception is uniformly and singularly had by the same eyes. So as visual perception, is the white color different from yellow color? Similarly, if you extend it, is an ignoble thought different from a noble thought? So far as the content and substance of the thought are concerned. No? Substance and content. See, I write with a white chalk on a black board, Ravana, or say I write sin, and then virtue I write. In the sin and the virtue, uniformly the white powder is there. Then what is sin and what is virtue? What are you looking at? You are looking at white color chalk lines. Yes, you are looking at them. And then when I look at the S-I-N, there also I see in substance what? Only chalk powder. Here it becomes sin, there it becomes. In both, the color and the substance are the same. The perception also, I am looking at the board and looking at the lines. So perceptionally both are the same. So the idea of differences is not correct. They convey to you two different ideas. I am not questioning them. But go into the substance, they are the same. So a noble thought, the same mind is there. An ignoble thought, the same mind is there. So if you want to overcome ignobleness and nobility, the two different, then look into the substance and leave the impressions. Nahi samjha? That is why a wicked man also sleeps. A virtuous man also sleeps. Both of them are equally asleep. Sleep में कोई difference है क्या? थोड़ा सोच लीजिए ना, ये secret है. This is the great secret. So the noble man and the ignoble man, you will find when you are able to understand the truth of two, it is so powerful that the wicked man will suddenly become virtuous. He cannot be any more wicked. I don't know whether I am talking sense or nonsense. Vishayeshva Vishacchetaha Sankalpayati Tadgunan Samyak Sankalpanat Kamaha Kamahat Pumsah Pravartanam Atah Pramadanna Parosti Mrityuhu Vivekino Brahmavidas Samadhau Samahitas Siddhimupaiti Samyak Samahitatma Bhavasavadhanaha Tadaswarupa Vibhramsho Vibhrashtastu Padatyadha Patitasya Vinanasham Punarnarohaiksyate Sankalpam varjayet tasmad Sarvanarthasya karanam Jivato yasya kaivalyam Videhe sacha kevalaha Yat kinjit pashyato bhedam Bhayam brute yajushruti See, Vedanta, as is represented by the Upanishads and the different end portions of the entire Vedic literature, emphasizes only one singular truth, that altogether there is only one existence. Call it God, call it Brahman, the supreme reality, or call it the inmost self. There is only one existence completely at every time. Now, will you be able to raise and elevate your mind to this thought, this concept, this attitude, this objective, and ultimately this experience and realization? This is the question. People are sometimes worried about what is this sadhana, what is this sadhana. There is the bhakti marga, the jnana marga, the yoga marga. So many different margas are there. All the margas are ultimately, or even initially you can say, they relate to your mind. Everything is revolving around the mind. Whatever practice you take it up in terms of the mind, it is a mind practice. Whether it is the jnana, whether it is the bhakti, whether it is the Raja Yoga or Karma Yoga, in what way does it make a difference? The Raja Yogi is a man, the Karma Yogi is a human, the Bhakti Yogi is also another human. Human personality does not change. The relevance of the practice so far as your mind is concerned remains the same. Then should you not focus on the mind relevance, the mind part of the whole thing? The mind part. And in the mind level, you must develop an attitude of singularness or singularity. Singularness or singularity. In the Bhakti Marga, it is very easy. You are told that there is only one God, one God, one God. And we have divided him to be many. How many temples are there? How many deities are there? How many holy places are there? All holy places are upon the earth. In all the waters, water is the same. So try to look for this oneness, that singularness or singularity. Now he is coming to the important portion here. Sankalpam varjayet tasmad sarvanarthasya karanam. Sankalpa. What does it mean? Samyak. Samyak means very well done, that is well. A well-formed thought. You tell me, after you were born, right from the birth, we are trying to interact with the objects of the world. The child is born and the child reacts in the form of a cry. The child should cry. The lungs should be activated. From that time onwards, it is an interaction with the world, with the objects. Now, will you please tell me one important point in the whole of the interactions? What is that fulcrum or fulcrumatic point? Is it not you, the individual? Why are you keeping quiet? At least nod your head. Are you not the individual who interacts? Yes. Or the world that interacts with you? When I breathe my air, Mr. Air does not do anything. He doesn't know anything also. No will is exercised by him. No reaction is expressed by air. The Panchabhutas are inert and insentient. So the entire interactional experiences, interactional consequences, outcome, all are in the individual. Even in the individual, now you tell me whether it is in the body or the senses or it is in the inner mind. It is in the inner mind. Now in that mind is the perception taking place, and it is this mind that produces different kinds of responses and different kinds of assessments and determinations. The deliberate thinking of the mind is called sankalpa. Normally you will find, how many sankalpas do you have? I don't think many of you have any sankalpa at all. Early in the morning I got up. Then I started interacting with this world. So many thoughts came to me. Not that I thought. What? You cannot say I thought. Thoughts came to us. And you are a poor witness and victim of all the thoughts. Now I want you to think deliberately with your own wish and will. Now these are the thoughts throughout the day which I have wished and willed deliberately. That deliberate willing, wishing, that willful thought, that is called sankalpa. So he says, sankalpam varjayet tasmad. While living in this world, never have any kind of a calculated or a deliberate desire at all. If you go into the philosophy of desire, to desire means to accept incompleteness and dissatisfaction. मुझे कुछ चाहिए, इसका अर्थ क्या है? मैं तो संतुष्ट नहीं हूँ, कुछ तो चाहता हूँ, जो मिल जाता है तब तो खुश हो जाऊँगा, अब तो खुश नहीं है, नहीं हूँ. This is your problem. You should refuse to desire. The air is entering through the nostrils to the lungs, and the lungs are expelling the air. It is all not by virtue of your desire. The blood is circulating not because you want. The heart is beating not because you want. The brain is constantly sending its conscious signals not because you want or you do not want. The alimentary canal does its function not because you want. As all these functions are going on, the psycho-intellectual functions also will become harmonious and useful. Never intercept it by a desire. The moment you desire, you want the desired object and you want not the other things. So there is a struggle of likes and dislikes, preference and prejudice, acceptance and rejection. You victimize yourself. So never desire anything. As I told you, Sita desired the golden deer. In 15 minutes, She was abducted by Ravana. Understand it very well. There was no necessity for Sita to have a golden deer at all. We are full and complete. We are full and complete. You have a beautiful body, a sensitive mind, a rational intelligence, and a moderate ego also. Beyond that, you also have the supreme self or soul. What more do you want? Can any object of this world enter into your system and fill your mind? बोलिए ना, बोलिए थोड़ा, हाँ बोलिए, हाँ. I want a garden. Will the garden enter my system and take a place in my mind? Even your child, does he ever enter your system and gain a place? So no object can ever enter my inside. It cannot occupy a place at all. Then what for are you desiring? Mind is desiring. So the mind must have an object. Does the mind ever have? And you speak about your attachment, I sometimes laugh over it. Laugh over it. Are you attached to your children? If you are attached to your children, they will be glued to your body. Are they? Is the mind getting glued to anybody? Anything? So our mind is unattachable. Our body also to some extent is. Then what is it that you speak about attachment? No attachment at all. You are speaking in a very deluded manner. See, people are saying, I am attached to the sun. What is meant by your attachment? Let me see. Which part of your mind is attached to your children? Show me that blackness of the mind somewhere. The objects cannot cause any scar in our mind. Certainly not. Certainly not. Then what is it that you are complaining? The air which enters frequently into your system, it is not attached. The water is not attached. The earth is not attached. You move from one place to the other. So are you attached to the earth? If you are attached, then you cannot move from one place to the other. So what is it that you are speaking about as attachment? No attachment at all. You cannot have an object from the world and give a place to it within your mind. So no sankalpa is necessary at all. Simply live freely, harmoniously, very cleverly, dexterously, making use of your senses, making use of your mind, making use of your intelligence. Let every organ function in its own manner, in the best possible manner. Never deny anything. Do not be only a mental person, be also an intelligential person. Whatever the mind does, make the intelligence examine and evaluate the mind's working. If there is anything wrong, the intelligence should administer the correction and the mind should be able to receive it and act upon it. So there must be a close integration between the senses that interact with the objects, the mind that employs the senses, and the intelligence that guides the mind, and ultimately the soul around which all these faculties are functioning. Am I clear or not? I find in spirituality only a fullness, a harmony, a naturality, a kind of a freedom, and that too ecstatic freedom. This is what I have found. I don't know whether you will believe if I say, and when I say that, I find no difference between thinking and non-thinking. In the thoughtfulness of the mind and in the thought freeness of the mind, I find no difference. In both, the same substance is glittering. Thoughts should be giving you only knowledge and information. Not either desire or hatred or fear or the other emotions. When the mind is able to think without causing emotional flux in you, you become liberated, liberated, liberated. Sankalpam varjayed tasmad. Therefore, avoid sankalpa. Creative and desireful thoughts, avoid them. Sarva anarthasya karanam. The moment you have a sankalpa, there is a preference. Whatever you desire for, if you are not able to achieve it, there is dissatisfaction. The effort itself is tensing you. It's all kinds of agitation and misery. Jivato yasya kaivalyam videhe sacha kevalaha. This is a spiritual text you should understand. You should always try to be kevala, alone, lonely. You are an individual. As an individual, you are separate from the others. That individualness should be recognized. So remain kevala, kevala, alone, alone. There is no attachment, there is no linkage, nothing is there. The mind is not attached even to the body. It is associated with the body. The water flows in our taps in several places. Do you mean to say the water becomes attached to any of the taps? Huh? The air is getting into the nostrils of so many people. Is it ever attached to any one of them? Then why are you getting attached? Jivato yasya kaivalyam videhe sacha kevalaha. Unless you become free and liberated, mukta, here now, you cannot get a videha mukti when the body falls. There are some people who will say, I will get liberation when the body falls. Wonderful, I have no objection. You get liberation. Who will know whether you have got it or not? Do you know what were you in your previous life? Is there anybody who knows it?
No.
In the same manner, whether you will be liberated or not, who is to say? If you want to have liberation, realize it and enjoy it here now before the body falls. If you are a Jivan Mukta, then you will also be a Videha Mukta. If you are not a Jivan Mukta, liberated while yet alive, then you cannot be liberated when the body falls. Jivato yasya kaivalyam videhe sacha kevalaha yat kinjit pashyato bhedam bhayam brute yajushrutihi. You know how we get liberation? It is a secret. Shall I tell you? No. It is a secret. Liberation takes place when your understanding becomes clear and you find there is only one. If there is only one, can the one bind itself? Huh? Boliye na. There is only one. If that oneness is felt, experienced, seen and perceived, it is preserved. That itself is liberation. That is why our Shastras say, Jnanadeva Kaivalya Praptihi. What? Jnanadeva. By knowledge alone, Kaivalya Praptihi, you have the state of oneness and liberation. Now, what is meant by bondage then? Non-oneness is bondage. Bodily we are separate. Bodily we are separate from the rest. And body is not going to get liberated or bound. If at all you are getting bound, it is in your mind. And bondage is a notion. It is a notion. It is an assessment. It is an outlook. It is an appraisement that the mind and the intelligence do. When you are able to think more and more, there is a Shanti Patha in our Upanishad. What is the Shanti Patha? Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. See, you can speak of addition and subtraction, division and multiplication with regard to limited things. When you go to the level of infinity as a concept or an idea, you tell me, infinity multiplied by infinity, how much is it? Infinity divided by infinity. Infinity taken away from infinity. Infinity added to infinity. Boli. See, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, it's all possible from 1 to 9. But when it comes to 0 on the one hand and infinity on the other, none of these processes is ever relevant or applicable.